All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Time to have some fun right now tonight. Welcome to the GG Factor on the last Tuesday in the month of April. Can you believe this? January, February, March, April, man. The quarter is gone. Have you decided you are seeking the next level? Have you decided that whatever's going on out there doesn't matter because you're grounded from the inside out? I heard someone talking about it the other day, and I'm going to help you tonight, maybe to tap into your internet through the information that I share to inspire you, to empower you, to take your life to the next level. That's what the GG Factor is all about tonight. And I don't even know where to start. There's so much happened since the last time I did a solo presentation here that it's almost overwhelming, to be perfectly honest with you, because I'm sitting here saying, wow. So I'm going to try to kill the president again. King Charles III is speaking as I speak tonight. I know a lot of you are probably watching it, maybe turn on your recorders and go and watch it later, but I want you to just check out what I'm going to talk about tonight, because there's just a multiplicity of activity going on. So I always kick things off with something that's trending, something that's going on. And as we all know, without a shadow of a doubt, it's clearly no great mystery as I stop the music that we've had one of the most tragic situations to occur to our sitting president for the third time. Speaking of the attempted assassination of Donald Trump, and in this case, the gentleman, don't even like to call his name. I'll just say Cole. I think his last name is Cole, or his first name, whatever. I just hate to even give people even a platform when something happens with them. That's all I can say. And when it happens that way, you stop and you ask yourself, wow, man, what in the world came over this man? I do have to speak about him because he's not the likely subject for what we have just experienced. He's not the likely subject at all. Man has a master's degree. The man actually got an undergraduate degree from one of the most serious technical universities in engineering. Master's in computer science, was awarded Teacher of the Month in his profession, was beginning to be a gamer, putting his whole life together, and something happened. I don't know. I don't know what could have happened to this young man, Cole Thomas. All I can say to you is this. He decided that he would showcase his way into an infinite eternity, because, I do believe this and I speak truth about it, that we're all here for a moment. There's life and there's death. What we do along the way is something that we should just pay a lot of attention to. I guess he knew that his demise was likely because of the strategic plan that he took. So to open this up tonight, talking about this gentleman, Cole Thomas, I'm just probably not even saying his last name here. All I know is I wrote it down just to acknowledge who he is, but it really touched me, man, that first and foremost, somebody with such cognitive ability, such an opportunity to make his lasting contribution to this planet, because, I'm really big on saying that everyone's story matters. And that gentleman, Cole, man, I don't know. You ask yourself the question, what happened over there on my social media tonight? I got my platforms up. I wonder what happened over there on Instagram, Facebook. What happened over there on LinkedIn? What happened on YouTube to this gentleman, Cole? 31 years old. And now he'll spend the rest of his life behind bars. He wrote his memo to the world about what his intentions were and why. He bum rushed what was the only real security point to get to our most prominent people in our Congress. And there's been a lot of feedback about whether or not the right things were done as far as correct protocol. But you know something about America that I've always recognized, and it's a sad reality? We are reactionary, but not pro enough to prevent. We are reactionary, but not pro enough to just prevent. That man cited that he walked into a world famous hotel where many years ago, the former President Reagan a life was attempted at the same hotel. Let's fast forward to 2026, just a matter of nights ago on a Saturday night. He decided to bum rush an event, 2,500 people under one roof. And the only metal detector position in that whole building, and don't hold me to this, but it seems like that was true, was where he ran through with his rifle. He checked in with his guns. He got on trains with his guns. He strategically set up his plan to cross the nation, and the rest we know is history. Thank you for the Secret Service and what they did to the swift movement to protect those who protect us, our legislative branch. But I want to leave you with this tonight. There are more guns in America than there are people. I want that to sink in while I sip my tea. There are more guns in people's hands registered than there are people. Now, that's a game changer from a very negative perspective. I'm here tonight to give you my personal opinion about things. I say it's the Gregory Griffith perspective, so I'm not going to sit and tell you that I can totally quantify everything I say to you. It's my perspective, and it might be quite subjective. But one thing that's objective is what I just said. Why in the hell do we need more people with guns than we got people? What can be done from a legislative perspective to curtail this? We can back up to those 20 plus kids who were just killed because some idiot had access to a weapon, a gun. I don't own a gun. I'm 71 years old. I don't intend to own one. I have family members who look at me like I'm crazy, and I tell them, no, man, it's just not necessary. And if I made it to 71 and I could drop damn dead tomorrow night, it's been all right. Because my encounters with guns when I was just a damn kid in high school could have cost me my life. When I was just a young, crazy musician, could have cost me my life because I had access. And people around me had access. And the only thing I can share with you tonight, because I'm a big advocate about, just rewriting the books on who can and should have access to guns. I fast forward to my life personally. I've had encounters with people with guns, and they made me wonder sometimes, woo. And some of them were professionally, should I say, anchored to have weapons. But you do know that domestic violence is the #1 killer in America, and most of those are done with a gun, with a weapon. So at the aftermath of all of this, we watched all of the entire networks, all of the entire talk shows, all of the people with platforms to express their displeasure, do this. They came back to that one question. Can we rewrite the book on who should have access to guns? Why shouldn't anybody have 25 guns? Why should that man be able to go all the way across the country, get on trains, come into a 5-star world-class hotel, and nobody even checked, didn't go through a metal detector or nothing when they walked through the door? I don't know, man. It makes me just feel like something's wrong. Something's wrong. And the only thing I can say to everyone, man, and it really touched me like I can't even express, is that suppose he would have fulfilled his mission. Suppose he would have fulfilled that mission. The sick brother Cole. I don't even like giving him any credit to even say his name. He'll go down in the history books of one of the ones who did it from a very negative perspective to get attention for the rest of his life. A third attempt on the 47th president of the United States within a matter of years. And then we must segue to the loaded question, why? Why him? And there were people. Her name is Juliette Kamen. I guess it is. Former Assistant Department of Homeland Security. She said the procedure, the process, I guess the strategic plan for the way that the president administration is operating has seemed to let the genie out of the bottle in a very relaxed way of almost normalizing violence. Except for talking about our violence against Iran like it was a video game or something. This is the truth. This is what someone who is a former assistant Homeland Security person said about this. And then you just stop and you say to yourself, wow, if that's the perspective of the insider who had a former position in our government saying that, we might need to pay attention to that. Can we change that? I don't know. But I'm going to leave it alone tonight. You know, I'm about 10 minutes in, and I told my wife I wouldn't go too crazy about it, but it just touched me. It just touched me. It just touched me. And I said to myself, will this be now maybe a wake-up call that the executive branch and the legislative branch, and even the judicial branch when it comes to justice, these revisiting of the perspective that they all seem to have, the cohort of a working paradigm of legislative lawmaking that leaves people with the right to bear arms. I know that's part of our Constitution, just like they were all there for one reason, the White House Correspondents Association, freedom of speech. It's a whole lot of them. But one tonight that I'm going to segue to, because it's sort of relevant to the conversation, was King Charles III. He says, no matter what, we're sitting here with the 119th Congress, and there seems to be a concern about checks and balances, which is another one of those things that we should address that's in our Constitution. It makes you wonder. This administration seems to be very flexible and able to do things like you wouldn't think, and there doesn't appear to be a reach into the checks and balances perspective about this. What sort of perspective do they have when they're the kind of things that are going on that we always seem to get the aftermath of an action taken that really involves the, should I say, involvement of the other branches of government, but especially the interface, the interaction, and the way that he put that, the way that King Charles put it. Let me tell you something too. I'm just put it in perspective. My cap went off to him. My respect went off to him on another level. The old guy is very heavy, very, very cognitively astute from a governmental political perspective. As he is here representing the 250th year of the celebration of this country. And let me tell you something. He said this. I had to just write it down so I wouldn't forget it, because it's relevant to what I'm talking about right now. We need to remember that interfacing relationships is a critical, non-negotiable component to peace, safety, happiness. He made that, he was profound when he stopped and silenced the room, and then it was just this resonating applause was echoing around the room. And just like everything else, the silence, and he kicked back into his conversation. But boy, when he spoke about checks and balances, when he spoke about interfacing relationships that have been going on in this coexistence, for NATO to, you name it, all of the alliances around the world, especially at a fragile time like this. My conversation tonight is probably 2 or 3-fold. I'm speaking about trends right now, and what I'll speak about a little later is what are the alternatives to us to counter against them. This situation with violence, I hope will end it sometime soon with some new legislation. That it'll be quite more of a difficult task to own a gun. I just hope that we can find a way that we can make it extremely difficult, and that anybody who just want to have a gun can just have one. I know we would have to go real deep about that tonight, and I don't even have the time to do it, but I just want you to know that there are people who are speaking about the things that are going on around us. When that situation happened the other night, they happened to breeze by Charlie Kirk's wife. And she just, I just want to get the hell out of here. Clearly, this woman reminisced about her husband. Not a big fan of Charlie Kirk at all, but I'm a fan of humanitarian cause and a platform that anyone should have. And I will always applaud that man, because he decided to get out there and have his voice heard, even if it's something contrary to what Gregory Griffith may believe. He stood for something that he believed in. They killed him. Another sick human being killed him. And here his wife was right there. She could have been one of the first ones if that man wouldn't got there. That's why I say now, don't get me twisted. I thank the Secret Service. Woo, do I thank them. Every time you see a playback, and by the time they got zipped through the security measures within a matter of seconds, brother had his gun cocked and was firing it. Now, there's a suspicious intervention about where did that bullet come from that hit one of our own. Interesting. But I applaud them. I applaud the way they ran and got all the key people in this country. If imagine under one umbrella, if they would have hit Vance, they would have hit Trump, they would have hit Mike Johnson, they would have hit people up there, man, that were just key components to keeping this thing going in America. It would have been quite tragic. So I applaud them. Not to sound very contradicting, but there probably could have been some other preventive measures. There could have been, but you can't change yesterday. Now we'll take a critique. And now the next time around, even listen to that idiot Cole and what he spoke about and how relaxed things were there at the Hilton. He cited some things that are true. He'll spend the rest of his life in jail, but he brought some things to the attention of the American public that really need to be addressed about the security and the right to bear arms and how people can just have easy access. And that's all we can do. If you reminisce to anything and how things have happened in this country with these assassinations, boy, if a lot of those people just didn't have access, or some of the places they went in would have had a tighter barrier or walking through their doors with them packed away somewhere. Beep, 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 metal, metal, metal detector. Wait a minute, what do you got there? What do you got? What do you got there? I mean, just imagine that. If we got a lot tighter about it, things would be very, very different. So I'm going to shift gears right now. I'm a marathoner. And my wife told me, don't you forget to mention this tonight. Wow, man. I hate this, Maru. I wrote it down. I wanted to be able to say this man's name tonight because, boy, look at here. The man broke the human barrier. Let's smile about something for a minute. I've run 25 marathons. Here's one of my medals right here from one of my Disney marathons right here. And I can hold this up and proudly say, boy, I know what it feels like to run 26 miles. And I did it 25 times. 26 miles, 25 times. And this man from Kenya, my best PR was a 3:29. And I'm still in an elite group. I don't know how many human beings on the planet can say they've ran 25 marathons and one of them was less than 3.5 hours. So all I can say to you very clearly is this. I don't know what you're showing me. It's a blank screen. All I can say to you is this. I got the information here. Sebastian Saul, a 31-year-old Kenyan young man. Woo! I got to tell you, man, that's why I'm leaning in a little bit, IG, Facebook. I'm leaning in a little bit over here, man, to let you guys know. Boy, 1 hour and 59 minutes, 26.2 miles. He broke, and you know something? I forgot the man's name that was a split second behind him, and I wanted to clearly acknowledge it. Both of them are incredible human beings. But here it is, and this one I always speak about it. When you got the attack, when you got that attack, when you got that TAC going down, the tenacity and the audacity, the function and the capacity, something happens. When you are saying, I'm going to say yes to this, I'm going to be success to this, I'm going to break this barrier, a human being in less than 2 hours ran 26.2 miles. Woo! I don't know what to tell you. Boy, that's scary. Because I know what it felt like for me. And I've never even tried to win a marathon. I always felt like a winner just finishing them. But imagine a human being on this planet that grew up in a mud shack with no electricity and plumbing. Literally, in this modern day and time, this man is somewhere in Kenya where he didn't have nearly what we got to do what he's done, but it was innate, it's intrinsic, it's inherent, it's inborn in him to have the tenacity and the audacity, the function and the capacity. Do you know back in 1908 that what did they say? It was what, a 3 minute mile. Then 1925, a 2 minute and 30-second mile, and then in 1967 a two-minute, and 10-second mile. And they say that nobody would never ever break the 3-minute barrier to run 1 mile. And looking back in 1967, and somebody going to do it. I don't know what you break his miles down per mile, but maybe he did. But I know that 1 hour, 59-second winner, the London Marathon. Please remember his name. Sebastian Saul. Only 31 years old. I can imagine what he feels like. Top shelf right now. All the endorsements all around the world. Can go back and take care of family. And speaking of that right now, you know why he can go back and do that now? Because he got some money. He got some financial position. He got some leverage in his life right now. He took his only intellectual property and decided that this is the one I love above all things. I don't know what this man is doing in Africa for a living, what it was about, but I don't think he got to worry about working much more. And he'll be coming right here to Miami. He'll probably run the Miami Marathon. He might even go to Disney and run that one. He'll go to Chicago. He will go to New York. He'll go to Boston. And he got a good chance of probably winning most of those. And you get very good compensation for that. Isn't it something about an athlete? Isn't it something about that? We've got the NBA playoffs going on right now. And I saw the other night where the Boston Celtics and the Philadelphia 76ers were playing. Two highly ranked professional teams. But it was a blowout. It was a blowout. I don't remember what the final score was. Oh, what did you hear this right? 128-96. 128-96. That's like 32-point lead or something, man. In a professional basketball game, in one game, 128 points. And the guy that came off the bench and got back in the game, Joel Embiid, right after surgery, in a losing effort now, he still did very well. He still hit 25 points in that game. They lost it. But back to the word tenacity and the audacity to function in the capacity. And even on a more funnier tip from an athletic perspective in running, there was a couple of little kids, man. I was sitting down having me a little lunch today, and Libby and Jacob are their names. And I got to give them a shout out. Go over on social media and check out Libby. I think her name is Libby Cole. But listen to me. Her and her boyfriend, I think that is, are from Oregon. They came to New York to go out for a run today, and they're running around New York City churning butter. Can you believe that? They got their own mixture of butter, put it in some Ziploc bags that wouldn't come open, and they run around for about 2 or 3 miles. And today was almost a record-breaking 90 degrees in New York City, and they ran right into the Tamara Hall's show this afternoon and sat there, and they made butter, and they found such a passion for doing it. Now they're about to take it to business, because guess what? They made that butter while they was running. They sat there, they opened the butter up and put it on some bread, and her, Tamara, and Libby and Jacob had a real nice bread on butter little toast. And here's the point I want to make. Nobody would have thought that their passion and their purpose and believing in their possibility segue into my P3 tonight, would net them the benefit of what we saw. She got them on national TV. That lady got millions of views. They have gone totally viral about what they do to make butter while they're running. And they're getting countless calls now. Can you make me some? 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 And here's the point I want to make to you, and I want to share it to you tonight. Always lean in, take my little watch and do like this. You got 24/7, 168 to manifest your greatness. And I tell people, and that's the part of this show that I have to talk about, and I kind of segue to why I'm here tonight, aside from just being here to express my perspectives on the trends and the economic and health and wealth that's going on around us, I want you to understand something. When people have a passion for something, they've activated their true purpose. When people have a passion for something, they activate their passion and their purpose in some kind of way. I don't know what it is. The universe finds them. The universe always finds them and gives them infinite possibilities. This man decided to run marathons. Now he's a multimillionaire. These people run around shaking up a bag with all the ingredients for the butter and came back, end up never knowing, all the way from Oregon, all the way to the other side of the country on a national talk show, and now going totally viral and about to start a business because of what? Passion, purpose, and believing in infinite possibility. What's your passion that you're not monetizing? About 4 weeks ago, when this all went crazy about the elasticity of demand for the demand of petroleum, gas, gasoline, something happened in America. Everybody was screaming, oh man, what the hell are they doing? Why are they taking the prices up like this? Everybody was snapping. Now see, I don't think the rich people are snapping at all. Straight of Hormuz, however you say that word, that's straight over there in Iran, they ain't giving a Rudy Poo, you know what about it. You think a billionaire or even a millionaire worried about that? Because most of the ones who are doing that are rendering a service or producing a product that's continuously being passive revenue for them. And my friends, the only thing I can share with you tonight is this. And I'm going to say it with deep conviction. Find your passion. Monetize your passion. Find your purpose. Monetize your purpose. And I promise you, you continue to knock on the door, and the universe is going to give you whatever your heart's desire. American Idol came on last night, and they're down to about the final 5 people. And every one of the songs that those people who were on American Idol last night are very relevant to this conversation. Because you know whose songs they sung? Taylor Swift. You couldn't even participate that night without singing a Taylor Swift song. I'm not even a big fan of Taylor Swift. I don't even know if one of her songs came on the radio, who it would be. All I know is that she's phenomenal. She found her passion as a young kid. She started writing her songs on her guitar. She begged daddy for some money. He sent her to Nashville. I don't know what her home of origin is. Miriam, could you look that up for me? What's her hometown, Taylor Swift? Her hometown and state. I'm curious. She left. Now, she came from a little money because I heard her daddy gave her everything she needed to go there and crank up her publishing and see what's happening. She's from Pennsylvania. It's kind of funny, the city of brotherly love. But here's the point I want to make. Can you imagine that you are so popular that a big talent program like American Idol says, I want you to sing, every one of you participants tonight, every one of you contestants, a Taylor Swift song. And they barely into her library, into her catalog, into her publishing dynasty. And I think she went through a big legal hassle with one of her managers, and she bought back every last one of her songs in her roster. And then because they were all stagnated, she had the power to release them. And almost every single one of those songs went #1 Billboard. The girl went on tour last summer, $1 billion. She was an economic swing all by herself. $1 billion plus for someone to come see that woman all over the world. Woo! And you couldn't even be a participant last night if you didn't put the work in and sing her songs. And you know what was very interesting about that? The heterogeneous nature, the diversity of the participation between each of those contestants. Some of them sung one of her songs in country. A black brother, just came out there singing it with a New Jack Swing African-American black thing on it. Another one came out singing with a pop swing on it. Another one came out there singing it on a rock swing on it. And then this sister, this black sister, woo! I don't know what song, what was it called? Lover Maru? Yeah, when we were just sitting there watching it, because I'm sitting there eating my dinner. I just popped on the TV. Oh, American Idol, top 5. Let's see what's going on. so I can share with my audience tonight. Boy, this sister sung this song, and forgive me because I did not write her name down or nothing. All I can tell you to do is this. You may not be a big fan of American Idol, but whoever that young black woman was, whoever this one big guy, here's another thing too, a football player. He playing football right now, but he got a golden voice, and he's now in the top 5 American Idol. What's the point, G? Your passion. What's the point, G? Your purpose. What's the point, G? The universe will give you possibilities. Be ahead of the curve. Don't let this economic cola beat you down. And I ain't talking about Coca-Cola. I'm talking about the cost of living allowance. This inflationary move that they're supposed to be beating it by giving us a little raise, but it's never in alignment with inflation. But these people, I don't know what the grand prize is from American Idol. They probably gonna get about $1 million too. Somebody believing in their intellectual property. Somebody saying, I got enough passion for this. Somebody saying, I know the universe will give me purpose and possibility, and I'm gonna go on TV and sing my song. And they all sung Taylor Swift like it was their song. And I'm not exaggerating to you. Every one of those people that sung her song comes back to one of the things that Gregory Griffith has always spoken about, and I'll go to my grave saying that because I live by that premise. I've never contested to be a great musician or a great singer or a great anything, but I've done it with passion. When I came to South Florida many years ago to start my own bands, I'd never been a lead vocalist. All I was a band leader, trumpet player, bass player in the band, audio technician, but I started having problems finding somebody that could sing. And I had such a passion for the business, I put the work in. And I had no idea that God had me set up. And I ain't a rock star, but I'm still getting a paycheck from my intellectual property as a musician. And I'm singing lead now. I go out and do gigs by myself when I want to, when I feel like it. I've got enough tenacity and audacity to function in that capacity. So is the fear of failure stopping you? Maybe I'll be a simple little example. You may never even become a rock star in nothing you do, but it can become passive income. Whether you got a job or not, you got an IP, an intellectual property that'll take care of you. I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. I got my job as a teacher only because I embarked in the music business, 2 or 3 record deals, working full time, went through some changes about it, said I ain't going to quit it. I'm going to go back to school. I got my undergraduate in business from FAMU, threw my degree on the truck, jumped on the back of it with 7 people, one of them my baby sister, Ruby Baker. And the next thing you know, 6 months later, I had a record deal. And the only thing I'm sharing with you tonight, this ain't no bragging rights. If a guy like me done it, a little black boy from the 50s, a little black boy growing up when they still say black seed over here, white seed over here. A little black boy from the 60s in first grade that saw so much Jim Crow still going on. Born during the Jim Crow era. And all I can say, thank you for Brown versus Brown education. Thank you for people like John F. Kennedy. Tragically, he had to lose his life for the cause. Martin Luther King tragically had to lose his life for the cause. Back it all the way up to Abraham Lincoln, just for the freedom of slavery, had to lose his life for the cause. Assassinations. And I hate to circumvent all the way around back to all of the good things, go back to that one thing that we just witnessed in this country. But don't you find that kind of ironic? It just never seems to stop. And all I can say to you, against all odds, everybody continues to say, yes, I can. Yes, I will. Yes, I must trust the process. And somebody comes after all of those people and steps into the arena. Even in that same hotel where they attempted another assassination, former President Reagan was attempted assassination too. Another attempted assassination. Makes you wonder. I've got so many things sitting here in front of me that I want to talk about tonight. I'm just trying to do a little smorgasbord of things to share because I don't want you to get wrapped up in a bunch of negativity. Because if you woke up today, shut up. Forget about yesterday. Shut up. I don't know what tomorrow holds. Shut up. But I tell people to shut up about whining about the status quo. Shut up about what you ain't got. How about what you do have? How about the now? I always say NOW, baby. How about the NOW that you got right now in this grand country of America? I'm sitting there with my freedom of speech tonight. I've been doing this YouTube show for about a year. A Thursday night, shout out right now. I'm going to put it out there. If you'd like to be a one of my books here, where did I put them, Maru? I'm wondering if I got them. I usually have them close by. I'll grab one in a minute. But here, oh, they're right behind me anyway. I don't need to. Both those books behind me. You can register for my Strive to Succeed Masterclass. It's on Thursday nights. This month makes 1 year for this. It's been more than a year with my Strive Masterclass. And you know something? I feel so honored to say that something keeps giving me that tack attack I talked about earlier. Something keeps telling me, Gregory, you know your story matters. Gregory, you know you want to be a part of this humanitarian cause to help people define themselves. That's what all I want to do. And one of the first pages in my book that says activate or stagnate, if I can grab these books right now, because it's so relevant to this moment. In this book, one of the first pages in this book, activate or stagnate, the title of that GG factor, like this show I have tonight, the GG factor says this: there's an infinite amount of energy to reach your maximum potential. In each of us is an infinite amount of energy, no matter what assassinations going on, no matter how much bad gas prices go up, no matter how many times somebody do something crazy in this country, you still got the tenacity and the audacity and the capacity to activate or either stagnate from procrastination. Everybody going to have highs and lows. And trust me when I tell you this, every time you have a low on your quest to be your best, it's a moment of growth. Every time you keep going to bat until you hit that home run, take a reflection, it's a moment of growth. Out of those 25 marathons I run, I remember when I couldn't run 1 mile. I remember when I had dreams about buying properties, and I woke up one day and realized I could liquidate and be a multimillionaire just with the properties I own. If I would have liquidated every single thing I own in that moment in my life, I decided, okay, I want to sell this portfolio. And it was done in a matter of 5 or 6 years after about 18 years of sitting on the bench. I bought my first apartment building in 1997, sat on the bench all the way fast forward to almost 2017, almost 20 years later, when I still own that apartment building, a duplex and a townhome, and decided I think I can build a portfolio of real estate. Because one thing that's very, very real, and I'm going to say this to you tonight, every single wealthy person in the world got a very healthy, wealthy portfolio of real estate. It is the king of equity. It is the king of building your net worth. The loaded question I ask everybody on this show every time I do a solo, and it's so relevant to this conversation tonight. If you liquidate everything you got right now, are you worth $1 million? If every single asset that you own is liquidated right now, could you walk away with $1 million and go swimming over in Jamaica somewhere for the rest of your life off that $1 million? Do you know how to leverage that $1 million? I'm offering you the opportunity to come into the Gregory Griffith Get Activated community. For $97 a month, I'll share my intellectual properties with you. Because that question I just asked you, I can answer that question with a resounding yes. I can quantify that. You should be able to say that too for your family, for your legacy. Shout out while I'm talking about it right now. Go see the Michael Jackson story. Am I lying, Maru? Go see the Michael Jackson story. I guess my wife don't hear me back there. I asked her for some feedback. Listen to me. When you go to see what that one human being stood for, the impact that one human being with his voice stood for, what that family, the Jacksons, stood for, what their legacy still is to this day. I didn't even know that Jermaine Jackson's son played Michael Jackson. I wasn't following who was the lineup, who were the actors and who the actresses, who were going to be the ones doing what they're doing. And I was just so impressed. What's your point, G? Passion, purpose, possibility. All Michael Jackson knew how to do was sing and dance and write songs. And he built his team. He was terrified of his father. That's the only part of that whole movie that was dark, that was dismal. Because when you use violence, when you use aggression to get your point across, to make somebody do something, it's a sad reality. But Joe Jackson did that to Michael Jackson. I remember seeing Michael Jackson on the Oprah Winfrey Show when he was at the epitome, when he had all those Grammys that he took the pictures with, when Thriller was the greatest selling CD of all time. And this man, a grown man, it took him all the way to that point in his life to finally be able to just stand up to his dad and not have bubbles bursting in his stomach. He sat there talking to Oprah Winfrey about it, and he almost welled up in that moment. He's talking about the king of pop. The king of pop that his dad made him do the victory tour. It wasn't really his choice. He had no choice. Or he might have wondered if his dad would have pulled the belt out and beat his ass like he did when he was number 10 years old. They came in from one of their first shows in that movie, and I will never forget the feeling that gave me, man, about people and power, even if it's your own mother or father, or your grandmother, or your aunt, or your uncle, and they exercise that authoritative right from a violent perspective over you. It's the worst. They came home from one of their first shows. They were super excited, pulled in the old Volkswagen Beagle, jumped out, came in, man. And his wife, I can't call the actress name, but she was phenomenal. She looked like his wife. She acted like his wife. This movie got to have some great accolades coming. Here's my point. She came and told the boys, get ready, y'all got to go to school in the morning. He said, shut up. Ain't nobody talking about Joe Jackson. Ain't nobody going to no school tomorrow. He said, take them instruments out right now. Scary to me. But they depicted this in a way that you just go, wow. Yeah, they went on to greatness, but this man's just relentless terror that he had about them doing that thing was scary to watch that part, to watch that segment. To watch him whip his belt off and slap Michael on his ass like he did because he expressed his displeasure with something. And that put an automatic terror in him. And all I can say to you, it never stopped his greatness. It never stopped the miracle from continuing to move forward. And the reason I'm bringing that to your attention, even in the midst of your journey along the way, there'll be trials. It could be even your own mother or your father, your own grandfather, your grandmother, your own uncle or your uncle. But boy, let me tell you something. Let's flip the script with all the great ones who got drafted the other night and the way they spoke about their mother and their father. Speaking about the NFL draft. We watch kids, 18, 19, 20, some of them 21 years old. They're still in second or third year of college, barely an adult, multi-millionaires because of what? Passion. Because of what? Purpose. Because of what? Knocking on the door when they were a kid with their family members saying, trust me, I got this. That's football. You definitely can ask LeBron James that question about his mama. You can ask Michael Jordan that question about his mama. We all know they were game changers for respect to an athlete, especially a black one in this country. And all I can say to you is this. Are you determined to leave your legacy? Are you a parent right now? Are you handling the way you are the ultimate role model to your kid? Are you leading by example in your household? Are you just sitting on the bench about something that you believe in and you know your kids watching you too? Because think about it. If you got a passion and you live in it, and your kid activates a passion and they're living it, can you imagine Michael? Can you imagine LeBron? Above all things right now, when we speak about LeBron James, his son on the same professional basketball team with him, watched his dad. Watched his dad at 18 years old, a $90 million Nike contract. Come on, man. Look at Michael Jordan. Fast forward, the big 2-3. He's now in NASCAR, got one of the top drivers in now modern day race car driving. And he went in and was a game changer because of who he is, because of his ability, being a multi-billionaire, to change the way those race car drivers are paid. A black man. Let me tell you something, man. We've come a long way. We got a long way to go. But let me tell you something, and I'm going to say it every week on this show. The only limitations that exist are the ones you place upon yourself. As I get ready to wrap this up in about 5 or 10 minutes, I want you to understand this. I want you to understand this from a very deep, deep perspective. Nobody ever gives success to the ones who have it on the level that we're talking about tonight. Nobody just gets that. It's just no way that that's going to happen. But can you imagine Air Jordan? His mother said, "You're going to pay my son for the rest of his life into perpetuity." His kids would never want for nothing because of the way he handled the basketball. Michael Jordan. And the point I'm making is I'm going to hop on this P3 theory tonight. Michael had a passion for basketball, a passion for winning that became his purpose. A passion for winning became his purpose. He knocked on the door to the universe. The man in the 11th grade didn't even make the basketball team in high school. Somebody who went on to be one of the greatest ever to touch a basketball. And forget about sports right now. I just want to metaphorically say that you can have this blind vision, or you can have an inner vision and be shot out into the world like you never would imagine. And it don't matter about your age. It's never too late to manifest your greatness. Look at Kentucky Fried Chicken. The man was about over 65 years old, had a recipe he believed in, and finally broke through with it. When I speak to you like this tonight, I'm speaking from the perspective that we're in a very fragile economic situation in this country. And people are constantly, every time, man, when I did my little reel right here on this YouTube show, and I put it up and posted it, got several thousand hits on it because everybody follow what I said about gas, watching the price. That for me, it was something to recognize. But I said to myself, and I thought about that too. I said, why am I even complaining? At least I can come here and buy this gas. I can come here and still fill up my SUV. But the shocker for the moment was real. Within a 2-week span, gas went up. From I was paying $3.59, it was $4.59. It went up a whole dollar within less than a month. And so when you put that in perspective for the entry-level person, and see that trickles back to the economy, the decisions that have been made by people on another level who spent almost $20 billion on a war. When we got people starving here in this country, $20 billion on a war. When we got people here who are dealing with housing situations, $20 billion here on a war where healthcare is skyrocketing, and it seems like we're not doing enough to help the guy that's the entry-level guy. That your business won't run if that entry-level guy don't show up every day. The teachers, I'm a retired teacher, and every time I talk about it, it stirs my stomach up. That what they pay a first-year teacher right out of college, they can't even afford to buy a home without a partner. They can barely even pay their cost of living allowance. It's not even look at the raise they give a teacher. It's not until you become literally a professor or a doctor when it comes to the field of education that you become a practitioner, a facilitator of a way to expand cognitive abilities. And they say, here, this is what we're going to give you. This is our America. And we have our legislative and our executive branches who come together in the Congress with these senators and representatives, and they all sit around and they get a big bundle of money, and they say, we're going to allocate this to this. We're going to allocate this to this. I have one of my notes here now that's relevant to this. Where is it? About the 4 areas of our government that were on lockdown freeze. Where's that paper, man? You know what I'm talking about, ICE or TSA. Who else was it? Or the Coast Guard, FEMA. These are our national services that we as Americans pay taxes for and our government. I don't know, like King Charles said tonight. What happened with the interface? What happened with the way that you guys are connecting with each other? Something's wrong there. Coast Guard, FEMA, ICE, TSA, Homeland Security, all of them weren't being paid at one point. Everything is shut down, especially the way the situation's got in the airport. You got to call in ICE, and ICE still not getting paid what they should. And I don't even like to bring up ICE because the way you implemented even the strategy for ICE and the money and all of that went into it, that Christy Norm, whatever her name is, she ride around on cowboys and spending $200,000 on ads and people around here starving. Then you go in and you cut DEI. Then you go in and you cut almost special needs retired teacher, the special needs sector. You're ripping them off for some of the money they should get. Why should you even touch those things? And this is the point I'm trying to make to you tonight. If you got your act together, even on the lowest entry level of the world, and you find an intellectual property, and you find something you can do in America, because that's one thing about America, it's the land of freedom to activate anything that you believe in, that you think that you finally tapped into. What's my story? If it is sports, if it is an actor and actress, if it is art, if it is computers, if it is a restaurant, if it is a mechanic shop, whatever it might be just cleaning swimming pools. It might be just cutting yards, landscaping. But if you do it with passion, I want you to think about that. If you're doing it with purpose and you knock on the door to the universe on this last Tuesday in the month of April, something's going to happen. And that's why I come on solo, coming up real soon. Patricia is coming on, and she's got a brand new book, and she's just a wonderful friend I met through a mentorship with James Melanchak about 2 years ago, and we've been staying in touch with each other. Just had Joyce on a couple of weeks ago from that same camp, and I'm excited about having her there. Another friend of mine and another mastermind right here in local South Florida, Stacy's thinking about coming on the show. Just had some really great people on. Shout out to my man Trey. Shout out to Rachel Brown. Shout out to, let me tell you something, Jessica Alvarez. And I'm speaking about these local people around me who got their grind on right now, making some things happen. I reminisced and went through some of my episodes, and I looked back at Eddie Allen today for a minute. I looked back at Dr. L. Brown. All of these people have been here on the Gigi Factor. And they're incredible, incredible human beings for a humanitarian cause. Some of them are entrepreneurs, but some of them are not, and they're just people in the work sector, but they're working their thing, man. They are working their thing. They are believing in themselves. Are you believing in yourself tonight? As we get ready to wrap up, I'm almost about an hour in. On this last Tuesday, take my 30, 60, 90-day challenge. Take it. Take the 30, 60, 90-day challenge in your life. You can come into my Get Activated community. Like I just said to you, $97 a month. That's $3 a day. Not even $3. 3 times what? 3 times 30 would be $99, man. Come on, man. $90. 33 would be $99. 99, but I'm saying 97. You get a copy of this book. You get the opportunity to take my 30, 60-day, 90-day challenge. And if you do 3 months in a row consecutive, you drop your payment 3 months in a row and acknowledge it to me. I'll give you the 4th month free. That's my shout out as we approach another quarter in this year. Let's take May, June, July, and August together and help you define yourself. Let's take the next 4 months together. Help you activate your true identity. As the first page of my book says, activate or stagnate. Recognize and activate that true infinite amount of energy in you to reach your maximum potential. Activate your AI. Yeah, your authentic identification. Nothing about artificial intelligence, which is another subject altogether. And the point I'm making tonight is this. You can run, but you can't hide. You know what I mean by that? If there's something irking at you, And maybe you need a mentor or coach to do that. The next level in my coaching is a 30 days to a new you MPC. That's maximum potential coaching. That was $9.97 a month. Give me 3 months, get $1,000 discount. Boom. It's just that simple. And if you don't, I'm still good with you. Come in for 1 month and leave. I know you'll be changed. I know you'll have taken my personal assessment test. If you go to theactivator.net, so I can make sure I make this formal right now, go to theactivator.net. If you're watching me tonight, it's right there in my comments. You can take those two, theactivator.net. You can take those two opportunities I just spoke about, the Get Activated Community or the 30 Days to New You Maximum Potential Coaching. And even if you decide to sign up for a full year in advance, there's still a big discount for that. But my point is this. Sometimes you need someone to micromanage you. Shout out to every mentor, the ones I even had in my life up to right till I retired from the school system and decided to invest back in myself. And I want to say this with due respect tonight. Personal development is priceless. You will never invest too much in yourself. Take the personal assessment I'm offering you. Ask yourself, where are my pain points? Ask yourself, where are my toxic relationships, toxic people? Ask yourself, why am I hitting procrastination on my life? These are loaded questions, and the only thing you can do is take the 30, 60, 90-day evaluation, work on them. It's called the Strive Masterclass on Thursday nights, and it's about relationships. The who, what, when, where, and why in your life. What is your why? I spoke about a lot of people tonight and their why. And their why is not a lie. They're living it right now. Like I said a little earlier, we just had the NFL draft, man. And these guys been living and playing football all of their lives. The same way when they have the NBA draft. And in a blink, their lives change. It's the same thing with you guys. It's the same thing with this boy girlfriends. They out running around shaking up butter. And now the next thing you know, they're going viral. They're on national TV. And the girl said, well, I'm thinking I'm about ready to start my business because she has a passion for it. And I promise you at the end of the day, that'll work. So once again, theactivator.net, run your marathon to success. And I call it a marathon because you don't just jump up and run a marathon, just like you don't just jump up and be successful. You know, I start with music. I end with music. I don't know if there were a few things I did. And Miriam, anything I didn't mention tonight before we leave, I spoke about King Charles. I spoke about the assassination. I spoke about the economic things that are going on around. I spoke about ICE. I spoke about the fact that there are more guns than people. I spoke about the fact that 50,000 people die from gun violence in America alone.
So on a good note.
Leave you with that tonight. She's giving me a good note. Let me see what she wants me to read. Okay. Well, you're good at that. I love this. See, a group of middle school students in Mississippi were riding the bus home when their driver suddenly had an asthma attack and passed out while driving. The bus started swerving on a highway of about 40 kids being in that bus. The bus started swerving on a highway with about 40 kids on that bus. A 12-year-old boy, his name is Jackson Kosnavi, jumped up and grabbed the steering wheel to keep the bus from crashing. Another student, Darius Clark, helped hit the brakes and slow the bus down. The other students called 911, gave the driver her asthma medication, helped her get everything under control until help arrived. Because of their what? Their teamwork. Baby girl, thank you for sharing that tonight. This is an incredible story. You know what my acronym for the word team? Together, everyone achieves more. And in a spontaneous moment, 12-year-old kids saved everybody on that bus. So all I can say to you tonight, thank you for sharing that. You know, you made my night with doing that. I'm just about to wrap up, and I'm looking through my little papers here. I think I covered a whole bunch of stuff I wanted to cover tonight. Talked about Michael Jackson. Boy, you got to go see that movie. I'm telling you the truth. You got to go see it. So with that said to you tonight, once again, I'm on theactivator.net. Thursday night is my Scribe Masterclass. It's all about relationships too. I'm going to stay on that series. The who, what, when, where, and how you can discover your WHY. The who, what, when, where, and how you can discover your why. I've enjoyed this night tonight. I always do. Yeah, when that music starts, it's a game changer. You know, but this is what I want to say also. You have to be real to yourself about when you see other people making it, when you see other people taking this thing and running with it, when you see that happen. Something needs to make you say, I think I can. I think I can. I think I will. I don't know what happened with my music here for a minute. Oh, there it is. I guess that's a musician. I started showing a little something in the background. Thursday night, the Scribe Masterclass. Next Tuesday night. Last Tuesday, I had a performance. I might have one this week too, but that's the only reason you don't see me here if I don't have something else going on that's using my intellectual property. And the most important thing I can share to you is this, man. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about this economy. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. If you monetizing your passion, get your passive income. Get a way to make some money against all odds. Hey, how about that goal? 1 million in net worth. That's very low end too. I'm being very conservative. And one day you want to wake up and say, if I liquidate everything I got $1 million plus. That's a realistic goal. Shout out to all those who do their thing out there, like I'm doing tonight. Yes, CNN been very good to me. NBC, CBS News, CNBC, all of them, man. You know, and today, I'm not a Fox guy, but I was looking around trying to find King Charles III. He was on Fox quickly. And I found him on YouTube. And boy, if you don't get a chance to please watch that man speak tonight from a humanitarian perspective, he'll fire you up. So till the next time, the Gigi Factor, Gregory Griffith perspective tonight, I'm checking out. Enjoy this 1 hour together with you. I hope that a little bit of this will make a big difference in your life, because guess what? When you micromanage, when you go back to the macro, that business grows. I'm going to leave you with that tonight. This is one that you'll take away with you. If you micromanage enough of you in mind, body, and spirit, and you go back to the macro, whatever that job might be, it's going to grow. As they say, all the way up, baby. Be unstoppable. Till the next time.